have Austen Bryan on our podcast today, and I am super excited because, well, on one hand, we are diving into open source, and on the other hand, we will talk a little bit about the business side of things, which I know interests a lot of people out there in the audience. But before we do that, just to get a little bit of understanding of where Austen is coming from, could you please tell us and our audience a little bit about yourself, like what your background is, how did you get into tech, and what's your connection to open source? What do you do today? These kind of things.
Yeah, would love to. So thanks for having me on. I always love to talk the intersection of open source and specifically national security in this case, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit today. But I was, traditionally trained as a computer engineer. I actually thought I was going to get into like chips and transistors, which is what I wanted to do. But the free market said I was only a software developer, and that's the only thing I could get a job doing at the time. Actually, in quality assurance at that. So ended up writing software for about 2 to 3 years full time, and then decided to commission into the United States Air Force as a computer engineer as well, but spent about 11 and a half years active duty, moving around the country, helping the United States. They call it acquire things, which is interesting because a lot of people hear acquire and they think mergers and acquisitions. It's not really like that. It's more helping things, the right requirements get on the right contracts with the right teammates, and then kind of overseeing the technical delivery of some large system that does some sort of military specific thing. So I was involved with some aircraft stuff initially, then some satellite operational things a little bit outside of my career field. And then I actually was like, hey, Air Force, I would love to do something very software related because that's what I know how to do. 8 years into my career at that point, and I got a chance to go to San Antonio, Texas to work at a very unique operational unit who makes effectively exploits. But I showed up and they gave me a great bait and switch and said, actually, we just got a new program. You need to go work on that instead because you're too senior, basically, for where we were trying to match you. So all that said, I got matched to a program that was trying to create a software platform for cyber operations. And that's what restarted me getting into software at the more tactical, source code level. And the journey of like DevSecOps and cloud and all these things when I was writing software in 2009 previously was not like, agile was still felt like a new concept, at least where I was at the time in 2009. So I had a lot to catch up on. But that started me on a journey to help start a program called Platform One in the Department of Defense, which ended up getting funded by Congress to be kind of a DevOps platform that other programs could use to deliver software through. And then one of the people I helped do that with got out of the military and started a company called Defense Unicorns, which has a silly but fun kind of name. And had tried to convince me to come do that with him, but I'm very risk adverse, and I had a whole career going, and I was like, yeah, I don't think that's for me. But as things went on, I was like, man, I don't want to do non-software things. And the Air Force has you move around to require more breadth than depth. And so, as I said, I always say I was a computer engineer. I don't feel like one anymore. I got an MBA after that, and I mostly have had to follow the dollars and cents since then. But I still like to talk about software and people with software. And so excited to kind of talk about that intersection of software and business because especially in the open source world and especially the national security market. So it's like selling to government plus open source plus software plus business. You have a very unique Venn diagram. So that's kind of the niche I fell into over the last, 15 years now after being at Defense Unicorns.
So as a kind of a summary, you studied computer engineering, hardware, you wanted something to do with hardware, and then the job market kind of reoriented you towards software, and then you got into the Air Force, and then at one point you did your MBA as well to look into the business side of things because of what you were doing. Is that roughly accurate?
That is, yep. And I think what I've learned over the last 3 years, especially being out of the military now, it's really lended itself well to like product management and product leadership as a career field because I've started to formulate my own strong opinions of what that looks like, but it's definitely trying to organize what I'll call cross-functional teams, whether it be marketing, sales, engineering, design, you kind of got to get everybody aligned to do one thing and figure out what problem to solve next and why. And so I would say, that mix of engineering and business has kind of landed me in product management, somewhat by accident, but I do really like it. And so right now for Defense Unicorns, that's what I do. I lead our product department.